Good evening, everybody. I know there's been a lot of videos today, and I know that this is later than I usually post, but lost in all of the waiver wire and practice squad stuff earlier was the fact the Seahawks did have a little bit of a practice today. And we did learn some stuff about the team's status going into the first week of the regular season from Carroll. And I want to go ahead and go over it here real quick tonight, and then will basically be on just keeping our ear to the ground for injury news for like a week, because at this point that's 95% of it. We know who's going to be on our team, we know who's going to be on our practice squad, but now it's just all about when are these guys going to get back, because we've been lucky that nothing major has happened yet, but we do have a series of minor injuries that need to get cleared up sooner rather than later. So I'm going to go over what Carroll said. Keep in mind that Carroll tends to be vague with injury stuff, and I think most coaches are. Like, why would you give out more information than you have to? Obviously, next week on the official injury report, he's going to have to give something. So I wouldn't expect necessarily to learn a lot about the guys who aren't practicing yet, but I want to go over some of this. Witherspoon, that's kind of the big one right now. I'm going to lead off with Devin Witherspoon because that's the one that people care about the most right now. Carroll basically didn't say anything, gave no ETA. All he said was that Witherspoon is still in rehab. And it was said that Witherspoon is going to return to practice this week. So obviously going to play that close to the chest, but if Witherspoon's out there on the practice field, the media is going to notice. And he was photographed today. I saw a couple of pictures from the VMAC today where he did not have a helmet on, so he's still not there quite yet. So we'll see what's going on this next couple of days here because the week's not over. I will say it again, though. If he needs to sit out that Rams game, that's no problem. I got no issue with that. And hopefully me saying these kinds of things over and over again don't come back and bite me. But yeah, that's how I feel about it right now. But Witherspoon, things are still being vague, but for the moment, we know that he's not practicing. However, we did get some good news here. Finally, we hear a little bit about some of these defensive line guys. Cameron Young. Cameron Young has been back for the last couple days. So the nose tackle situation looks a little bit better. I'm not going to go crazy with it. Cam Young is a rookie, but if he can be out there for even 15 snaps a game, that changes things. That makes things better. So maybe Cam Young doesn't have to start the season on short-term IR after all. So I'm going to say that's great news. I don't love this player, but it is definitely good news. So I think that's one of the bright spots from this injury report. Like, again, Carroll's going to be vague about things when he can be, but if a guy is practicing, then we're going to just see that. So he was pretty clear about that. So Cam Young looks like he will be ready to play week 1. We got a little more JSN updates. It's nothing really new. He's doing remarkably well a week after the surgery, according to Carroll, from John Boyle here. Too soon to know if he'll play week 1, but I'm starting to buy it, and I didn't buy it as recently as a few days ago. So JSN, still doing well in his rehab, already catching passes. Sounds like he's got a real shot to play week 1. If he can't, he can't. But if he can, he can. I don't feel the need to hold a guy out just because. And if there's one thing I feel pretty good about this team understanding, it's not forcing a player out there when he doesn't need or can't be or shouldn't be out there. I think that they, at the very least, handle that situation quite well. I can say that. So if he's out there, I'm going to feel like he can be out there. I'm going to feel like they're not pushing him. They're not injecting him full of painkillers and forcing him to go out there. And like there's some puppeteer up in the roof of the stadium, like pulling him out there. And he's like this Weekend at Bernie's type thing. And he's being led around on puppeteer string. No, it's not going to be anything like that. If he's out there, it means he belongs out there. Nothing on Jamal Adams, not visible on the field during the really short time the media had to watch today, according to Condotta. So obviously he's off the PUP now, we know that, but we have no evidence of him participating in practice yet. Again, the return date for Adams may very well end up being week 2. It seems like we're going to be missing some guys week 1, and we're going to just be okay with that. And it's, in my opinion, the right move to make. Mike Morris has not returned to practice yet, but he didn't really say anything more meaningful than that. So when you consider the fact that he was getting a procedure done on his shoulder to correct an injury that he's had before, I firmly believe he's going to start the season on short-term IR at some point. But I don't know I don't know why we haven't done it yet, but maybe there's some belief that he could respond well to treatment and could come back very quickly. So we're going to continue to keep our ears close to the ground on this one because that defensive line is still pretty thin. And we didn't really keep any defensive ends on the practice squad who we could bump up as a promotion for a week or two. The only defensive lineman we kept was Gotel, who's a nose tackle. So if Mike Morris can't go, that might require us to do a little bit of shuffling, especially if he can't go for several games, which to me is still the likely outcome here. So again, Carroll's keeping it vague because he doesn't have to be specific yet. Devin Bush did return to practice today, so the concussion, whatever it was apparently relatively minor because he had the concussion Saturday. Half a week later, he's back out on the practice field, so his ability to play week one against the Rams seems to be on track. And I want to see what he can do. I'm kind of excited for this. I liked his preseason. I like the skill set. I like the stuff that he might be able to do now that he's had several years away from that massive injury he sustained. So I'm very interested to see where the Devin Bush experience goes, and I'm really happy that concussion is not going to cost him a significant amount of time. Not returning to practice yet, though, Daryl Taylor, still sidelined per Greg Bell. Shoulder injury is now almost a month old, and he has not yet returned to practice. So good news is, I mean, he's a veteran now, right? He's third year, fourth year in by some definition, and he doesn't necessarily need these reps to like build experience for the regular season. But at this point, maybe we got to wonder a little bit: is this guy going to be ready for the first game? And if he's not ready for the first game, that's okay. If he's not ready for the second game or the third game, it's not as okay. We do have a good edge room, so we can survive without him for a while, but I do think that Daryl Taylor is still a relatively key part of this pass rush. And for as flawed a player as he is, I do like him. And also, let's keep in mind here, Derek Hall also sidelined today. So that actually makes our edge room not so thick. That actually gets us down to Levi Bell territory already. So Taylor, Hall, hopefully we get good word on one of them soon, but right now neither guy is practicing. A little bit of an update on the Sutherland situation. I know this is a very minor thing at this point, but he agreed to a 6-week injury settlement, which means he can re-sign with Seattle in week 9. So I don't know if this is going to happen or not, but basically my understanding of this is he agreed to a settlement that was equivalent to 6 weeks worth of paychecks for him, and we don't have to pay him the full. We don't have to, basically, even though he got hurt playing for the Seahawks, we don't have to give him his full salary. We're just giving him 6 weeks worth, and then after or during week 9, he could come back. I don't know if he will come back. Who knows? But that's those are the terms of that. We save a little bit of money. Sutherland gets a little bit of something. And last little thing to note from Carroll today, Kobe Bryant exceeded expectations playing safety in the preseason. And with Adams having an uncertain time of arrival back to the team, you could consider Bryant to be the first safety off the bench until such a time as Jamal returns to practice. So, kind of interesting. All right, that's all I got. See you guys later. Go Hawks. I'll be on Twitch a little bit later. I'm not sure what I'm going to be playing yet, but hope to see you guys there. Go Hawks.